everyone, and welcome again to the Power Platform Boost podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Ulrikke.
Hi, everyone. And together in the same room once more. Last time, next episode will be in different locations, different time zones again.
Yeah.
But so we're doing recap today for day 3 of Microsoft Power Platform Conference here in Vegas.
Yes, and I want to apologize for the day 2 recap. Some of you might have noticed our audio was a little bit off, and hopefully today will be a lot better.
Yeah. So we were trying to record in an open space, and there was a lot of conversation behind us. So yes, apologize for that. We're still learning. This is it's new to me. You're more experienced than this, but so we're learning, and we'll try to do better. So this time it's better, hopefully better.
So far, so good. We'll see. So the third day wrapped up. A lot of cool things. There was the 10 a.m. keynote with Adam
Grant.
Adam Grant.
Yeah.
That was really amazing. I've not seen or heard, I know he's famous, but I didn't really know about him before. But he's somebody I'm definitely going to read his book, download his podcast. It's just amazing.
I saw Adam Grant live first time in Oslo. I think it was 4 years ago or something. It was before the pandemic. And I've been following his work ever since. And he's such a great thinker. And I just love the way that his mind works. And he's very good at giving me mental models. Because I think he's a motivational speaker and he's a business psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very abstract. But he's great at articulating what he's thinking in a very concrete way so that it's very visual to me. And he put up on the screen, the diagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My OneNote, I'm looking at it now. It's filled with pictures and things, and things that he said too. And his talk was he's talked about building a challenge network, which I found pretty interesting because a lot of it, we had a cartoon up about comforting lies versus unpleasant truths. And I know it's hard sometimes that the unpleasant truths, where working with colleagues, working with friends, working with family. Sometimes you just want to say the nice thing and be that, as he described it, that agreeable giver, where sometimes you need to be the disagreeable giver.
Yeah.
But try to do that in a safe space as well, in that psychological safety, which is sometimes very hard to do. And he had some interesting stories about that as well. The one thing he talked about this book, I think, Kill the Company, about how they, instead of brainstorming, what are the things we could do? It's sort of like you look at the opposite side. How can we wreck something and it's a safe space? And then because of all these, what's the worst that can happen, or these scenarios, that they're built from that.
Yeah. And then you actually get, creativity flowing. And he's also talking about switching brainstorming to brainwriting, having everyone come together in the room in person. You will always follow the lead of the, highest executive or, the one that speaks loudest. But having people brainstorming on their own and then coming together to share their ideas is a much better way to go about it. And he had so many great insights like that. I learned so much. And I also have one of both. And then also he had us clap. And that was very funny because to me, I'm Norwegian. So sitting in a room with strangers and then, there's a task up on the board saying, okay, turn to the person next to you and clap a song in your head, and the person next to you will try to guess what song it is. And that was a complete stranger to me. So I went into hiding mode and tried to disappear into the carpet. I couldn't. So the guy next to me started clapping, and I had to try to guess what song it was, and I couldn't. And then it was my turn, so I started clapping, and he couldn't guess what it was. And then Adam Grant from stage say, okay, everyone who guessed it, get up. Everyone who got it right. And then he said, any one of you guessed Happy Birthday. That was the song that was clapped. Sit down. And the whole audience went, what? Because half of us clapped Happy Birthday. And it's like, okay, every A, B, C, or Twinkle, Twinkle, sit down. And then the other half was like, what? How did you know that? And then I did Jingle Bells. That was the third song. And then We Will Rock You is also one of the, it's astonishing to see how much the same ideas are in our heads.
Mm-hmm.
And I also talked to why it's so hard and this goes back to the ideas. you have that song in your head. You can't tap or clap that song unless you hear it in your head. That goes for ideas as well. So it's so hard to articulate ideas that we have in our heads to someone that don't have that idea in their head in a good way. And so this is the level of examples that he will give. And that's what I mean about that being concrete and giving us those great insights and not just talking about it, because that can be very abstract.
Yeah, no, it was an interest. Yeah, the guy next to me, I looked over him and he looked at me and goes, pass.
Probably Norwegian.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, exactly. Oh, all right.
Yeah, sitting next to a Canadian. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was interesting. So yeah, like there's a whole thing, like you can't really, go through his, obviously Adam could present this way better than we can recap it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But just something about, that he had the pyramid, both the scientific thinking mode and the different, are you preacher, prosecutor, politician, or cult leader, the little triangle. And yeah, it was really good. And then it kind of wrapped up with a fireside chat with the Power Pages GM Sangya Singh. And so, but yeah, if you ever have a chance to see Adam Grant, and I got to shut off my emails because they keep popping in on this.
Go into focus mode on your computer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ding, ding. Yeah. If it's not cats, then it's Microsoft's Windows notifications. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. And then, so that was the morning keynote, or the 10 o'clock keynote. After that, you went to a session about Power FX.
I did. And it was really cool. It was by the and we'll put in the show notes the names. It's Greg Lindhorst and the other guy, Matt, I think. And so they talked about, it was cool because, I've done some Power FX stuff, but they were talking about the fact that Power FX 1.0 is now GA. It is different. I didn't know this. It's different from what's in the Canvas apps now. So in order for them to implement the Power FX 1.0, you have to turn on this experimental mode, and a lot of your existing Power FX may break.
Yeah. We talked about this.
We did talk about this. It's been a long week.
Yeah. No, it's open source, and it's GA, as you were saying. And it's good that they actually did that talk to go deeper and because it's very important, because your stuff might break.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was cool because they talked about the different, power. They kind of rolled into the introduction, and then they talked about where you could use PowerFX in PVA, Dataverse columns, cards, Canvas apps. They showed it. You can run PowerFX from VS Code in a browser, model-driven commands, obviously the Dataverse plugin that we talked about, and plus doing it with the Pack CLI and being able to interact with Dataverse.
Oh.
And they have this example where they do Wordle. Wordle, where it's a 5-letter word and it guesses the letters and all that stuff. So they're using that example in all of these different surfaces. So to me, it was like, okay, I knew PowerFX was the language of Canvas apps. I knew I could do PowerFX. Like I knew a couple of these things, but to me, it was like, oh, wow, this is so much more than what I thought it was. So it was really good. And they, then they got down into some of the nitty gritties, like, floating point issues and decimal. But the big thing to me that got me excited was the fact you could do named formulas and user defined functions.
There you go.
So now I could write a PowerFX function and call that, as opposed to trying to do it all in one spot. So that was my biggest hang up about doing PowerFX. It's like, you got to do a lot of almost spaghetti code, and now it's much more modular. So I think I got to revisit PowerFX and give it now a second look, because overall I never did a lot of Canvas app stuff, but the fact that we can do it now in the Dataverse plugins and all these other things, I think, and I had a few ideas too about the Pack CLI, because we can run that through batch commands, about using that to generate data and that type of thing, which I talked about. So so it was a really good session.
Yeah. Good. And I went to Eliza Benita's session about combining business process flows and for automated approvals for the ultimate approval process. Now, Eliza's a great speaker. She always draws a crowd, and she got, she went straight from a panel discussion right into the session. It's the last day and it's late in the day, and she's just a rock star. She totally nails it. And it's pretty dry and pretty old school stuff. It's business process flows. It's not really that sexy. And, she also showed us one of the legacy, or is it legacy workflows? Do we call them legacy?
Or just classic workflows?
Classic workflows. Yeah, that's much better. but I've worked with that, and we actually use Power Automate and business process flows for a customer. So that's why I went to that session. And she showed us, for instance, how you can use the classic workflows to skip stages in your business process flow, for instance. I didn't know you could do that. And so it was a session. She showed us, she demoed from end to end how you set up the business process flow, how you touch it or how you get it working and up and running. And I've been struggling with that lately. How you connect it to Power Automate for the approval flow, how that adaptive card work, you can get it in your email, and then also how to have a conditional step in the business process flow, and how you can catch that event, and if it's rejected, move to a later stage in that business process flow, or close it altogether and change that status. And so actually I'm coming back to work with a solution to a problem that we hadn't figured out, because none of us are Dynamics developers where I work. So this is very good insights. And I love being able to go to sessions and see the end-to-end demo that she did. And now I have so many good ideas for what we can do to improve on a real customer project next week.
So this trip paid for itself.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool.
Not only that, I have done other things this week as well. It's not only that, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So it's interesting for you and I being here. Your role was as a presenter, and my role was as an attendee. So what I want to talk about is you as a presenter. Can you talk about that whole process about putting in sessions, how you decided, and preparing and getting ready and actually doing the session for anybody that's out there that maybe they think, you know what, I want to be able to be a presenter someday at a conference like this. Just sort of what are your thoughts in the process on that?
Yeah. I heard someone say when you submit sessions or you get accepted you get some sessions accepted for a conference, that's the happiest you ever are in that process, because from there on end, it's just the anxiety builds up. And it's just when it's over, then it's a huge release. I think that's, part of the truth. And I think everyone has an individual experience with these kinds of things. I love being on stage. I love presenting, and that I'm not anxious about that. I'm not nervous like that. Mm-hmm. But I do freak out before sessions, not being prepared enough, because I'm such a perfectionist. I'm never done. The presentation is never done. I want to do live demos. That's what I like to do. And that means I should really record videos beforehand if the internet doesn't work, or like I've had on conferences before, my computer suddenly strikes out or something. I need a PowerPoint deck with images so that if the video doesn't work, then I have that. Yeah. And I also usually want a blog post to go with my session. So there's a lot of things to prepare for, or I choose to do it this way. I know there's easier ways to do it, and I could just simply use PowerPoint like most people do. But that's just my preference. So I think I can remember when I learned that my sessions were accepted. But from then, it's preparing. It's in the back of my mind from that point on. And this is the biggest conference that I've ever presented at. And I remember being at Ignite Atlanta before COVID and looking at those superstars on stage thinking, oh my God, I can't wrap my head around being on stage with a crowd that big. And I just wanted and wished for myself and put it on my to-do list, the bucket list kind of thing, that one day I'll be on a stage at an event that big. And that was 10,000 people. And this is 6,000 to 8,000 here at a room with 400 people on Tuesday and 300 Wednesday. So pretty big. And it was exhilarating. It was, and it worked. I think it went well. I wasn't it was not my best presentation at all, but it was good enough, and I'm happy with it. And we did it, and I had a blast.
Yeah, you did amazing. Thank you.
And it's reversed. So usually I'm the attendee and you're the presenter. Now you've been attendee. Do you have any tips for anyone who doesn't really know how to navigate a conference this big? I know next year they say that it's going to be in Vegas again, Microsoft Power Platform Conference. And it's probably going to be around the same time. It's probably going to be here in Vegas as well. They're trying to reach the 10,000 attendee mark. For the people coming back next year, what's your top tip on how to navigate this kind of event?
Oh, I think the best thing, you almost have to pace yourself a little bit. And then I think the thing is you should define your goals before you go. What is it that you want to get out of a particular conference? Is there people that you want to meet, or there's things that you want to learn? Everybody comes with the different aspects. Now, for me, it's all about learning what's new, and you got to take it into account of when you're picking your sessions, when you pick your sessions that you want to go and attend. There's a couple factors that I always look at. First off, is this something that I'm not already a quote unquote expert in? Because I know a lot of people, it's like there's a comfort level. We're like, oh, they're doing a session on Power Pages. It's like, this is my thing. I love Power Pages. I'm going to go to that session. And I am tempted to go. And I actually went to one of the sessions, but it was because it was really the product team that was there. And these are people that I worked with over the last 2 years. So this is the first time I actually met a lot of these people face to face. But that was my reason for going to that. Now, normally, and again, it's not all what my goals are. It's what the goals should be for a conference attendee. So if there's things that you need to learn for a project or something, like, that you're going to need to get your head wrapped around Power BI, for example, in a project coming up, and you don't know much about Power BI, here is your opportunity to actually go to a session that's being delivered by someone that's an expert in Power BI or has the experience that you can draw on, and even make that connection. You can ask questions after, and if these people in the community, we're here to help. That could be someone you could reach out to, say, hey, I saw your session in Vegas and you showed this in Power BI. I'm a little confused on it. Like, for me, if I get a question like that, I'll try my best to at least answer or at least point the person to something.
Yeah, and we got questions like that because you helped me answer my questions after my session. And, I think 5 people, I said, write that down, send that to me on LinkedIn or something, and we'll look at it together, because it's huge architectural discussions, right? And my head was mush after the presentation, so I couldn't really comprehend what people were saying. And then, please write that down and send that to me, and we'll look at it. Because I know, both you and I do that, and I know a lot of other people in the community are happy to help and spend time, help you solve your problem. And as you were saying, this is a great opportunity to connect with the speakers.
Yeah. And there's that aspect of it. And then there's also another factor too, is some of these sessions are led by Microsoft people and other sessions are led by MVPs and in the community. So there's definitely benefits to both. Now, understand, a lot of times Microsoft it's the what's new, it's what's coming. And if there's things that hey, I want to learn more. For example, the one from Power Effects that I talked about, this was delivered by the product team, the folks in charge. So yes, I want to see the roadmap. I want to see what's new. I need to know the features and whistles. Whereas maybe I'm already working with Power Effects. I've read the documentation, but now I'm getting stuck. I'm looking for best practices. This is where a community presentation on a Power Effects, for example, could be better, because chances are the folks that are presenting it have lived through real world projects. They have the scars, the gray hairs, or whatever else. So that's also, a great place to get some of that particular content. So that's the thing. So it's great, the Microsoft, what's new, what's coming, is there something in the roadmap that's going to solve a particular problem? And then there's the experience. And then there's also like looking at some of the speakers as well that, we know in the community there's some amazing speakers, and just to see them speak on their topic in itself is sometimes very entertaining and very enlightening. So maybe there's a particular feature that you don't know nothing about. It's really not on your roadmap, but if you see someone speak about their thing, that's actually really cool as well. And then the other thing too is to kind of pick those out, try to be a little bit variety, go to things like the community booth, where there's where you can kind of sign up for user groups and learn a little bit more about that. They had that here. There was also the feedback sessions where Microsoft are looking for, hey, we're working on this. Bring back your feedback. What are the feature requests you want? Those are very interesting. There's the expo where you can talk. We talked a little bit about that yesterday about the ISVs and the other people that are providing products. Like, they might have a solution that's going to solve a big problem that you're trying to figure, okay, how are we going to build something? Oh, wait a minute, there's an ISV that's already built this and we can just bolt it into our solution. So these conferences bring so much, but you gotta plan a little bit. And then, like I said, pace yourself, because there are social events, let's say, in the evenings which sometimes can take a little bit of energy. So prepare for that, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Yeah, and for me, that I'm not all that comfortable with being around people all the time. I need time to myself. And so now I think we're both feeling that, it has been a great 3-day conference, and it's still going on. There's still workshops going on today and tomorrow. But for me, I feel like I need to replenish my energy levels now, because I feel that I've been socially on, powered up for 3 days, and it's going to be nice to kick back and relax. And work starts again next week, and I'm doing a presentation at work, recapping and telling my coworkers what this conference is all about and what I learned. And I think most of us need to have something like that going back also, that it's because our companies, they pay for us going here most of the time, and we need to bring something back. So write a blog post, write a LinkedIn post, do a presentation for your coworkers or whatever. Just spread that knowledge and spread the word, and that's
absolutely. And there's we talk about taking breaks. There's no shame if you don't have to go to all the sessions back to back to back. There's no shame if you're like, you know what, I just need to take a break. I'm going to go back to my hotel room and have a nap, or do some work, or do something else just to disconnect a little bit. Sometimes it's good to take a break from especially here with 6,000 people. And of course it's Vegas, there's lights flashing. There was I found I was a little sensory bombarded. And so I needed to take a break, and I kind of did that to sort of just get my head right again, and then back to it the next day.
Yeah. And so that's Vegas. You'll have to go through a casino wherever you want to go. You want to go to the bathroom, you have to walk through a casino. And it's all flashing lights and ding, ding, ding. So yeah, I get you. All right. We are going to kick back and relax the rest of the day, and experience what Vegas has to offer outside of the conference.
Yes.
And we will be back with the regular episode on October 18th. That's a couple of weeks away. And until then, thank you so much for listening to the Power Platform Boost podcast. Look forward to the Boost Quest next week. And see you around.
See you around.